Okay, guys, welcome back from your break. I hope you guys all got a lot of rest and are well rested and ready to come back learning and everything. Um, we are starting a brand new unit. New year, new unit. Okay, so this is going to be unit 5 now, and it's all over similar figures and similarity. Okay, so that's 7.5a and 7.5c. Those are just our TEKs that we go over. Okay, so first, what is a similar figure? So similar figures are the same shape. That means it has to be a triangle and a triangle being compared, not a triangle and a rectangle or a triangle and a circle. Okay, they are different sizes, so one's going to be larger than the other. So we're going to have a big shape and a small shape. And then they are also going to have a proportional relationship. That means that no matter which sides I compare, if I compare two of the same sides, from one shape to the other, that you're always gonna end up with the same proportion, the same ratio. Okay, so yes, this does mean you have to set up a proportion. So if you're a little struggling on proportions still, let me know and we can try to get some proportion help for you. Okay, and I'll go over that a little more in depth later on at the end of the unit when we go over the attributes. Okay, so first we're going to talk about scale factor. Okay, so scale factor is usually used in blueprints or scale models. Okay, so if you see it's a blueprint or a scale model, that means we're using scale factor. And it's just basically we're writing a proportion comparing the smaller version to the bigger version. Okay, so you always want to set up a proportion comparing the two sizes. So I like to put the original or the actual model, actual thing on top, and then I put the scale model or the blueprint scale on bottom. Okay, remember, if the original is in feet and the scale model is in inches, make sure you have feet and inches, okay? So we know where we're putting it. And then we want to cross multiply and divide. So multiply diagonally and then divide by the leftover one. Okay, so on here, let's talk about this. Let's see. Heather is making a scale drawing of her house. In the scale drawing, the length of her house, so I know I need the length of her actual house is 20 inches, not actual house, in the scale model. So in the scale, the length is 20 inches. So if I'm going to link like this, remember I put original on top and I'm putting scale on bottom. Okay, so the length of my scale model is 20 inches. Oops, that's the original. See, that's why we label. Okay. So the length is 20 inches. So this should be inches. Okay. If she is using a scale factor, so scale factor of 2 inches, 2 inches represents 5 feet. So if you see that represents, that means that's my scale. 2 inches, so I'm going to put 2 on the bottom because 2 inches is on the bottom, represents 5 feet. So that means feet is on top. So that should be 5 on top. Okay, 2 inches represents 5 feet. So that means they're together. Okay, which means I'm trying to find, like it says, what is the actual length of her house? So the original. Okay, so then what do? We cross multiply. Okay, so I'm going to do 20 times 5 because that's the one that's not with the x. So 20 times 5. And what's 5 times 20? You know, it's 100. Okay, and I'm going to divide by the one that's with the x. So then I'm going to divide by 2. So 100 divided by 2, half of 100 is 50. That means the actual length of the house is 50 feet. Okay. I hope we got that. We're going to erase it and do another one. And then I'm going to go over the assignment a little bit with you. Okay. So in this one, we're talking about an architect. He's building a skyscraper with a scale model. He's building the scale model of a skyscraper. So it says an architect building a skyscraper builds a scale model in which 2 inches represents 13 feet. Okay. So if it says If it says 2 inches represents 13 feet, 2 inches, 2 inches represents 13 feet. That means I'm going to do 2 over 13. Okay, so I put my inches on top of my feet on bottom this time. Okay, it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you put the numbers in the correct place. Okay, if the height of the skyscraper is 247, that should say feet. Sorry, guys. Feet. What is the height of the scale model? So if this says 247 feet, so I'm going to put 247. 247 feet, okay? Because that's feet and that's feet. You could also put inches and feet here so you can tell, okay? Then that means the x goes here because that's what I'm trying to find. So we're going to cross multiply. So let's do our diagonals. So I'm multiplying the 2 that don't have the x. So 247 times 2 equals what? So let's multiply that. 247 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so that would be 494. Okay, and then I divide by the 1 with the x. So then I'm going to divide by 13. So I'm going to put 13 divides into 494. So 13 goes into 49 how many times? Let's see, it goes 13, 26, 39, and I think that's all. Because 39 and 49, 3, there we go. 39 and 49 are only 10 apart, not 13. So that's going to be 10. Okay, bring down the 4. We go 104. So let's see, 13 times what gives me 104? Well, I know 13 times 8 is 24, so that gives me the 4 at the end. And then 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so that would be 104. So that would be 38. So my answer is 38 inches. Okay, and that's all you have to do. Okay, so set up your proportion. Wherever it says this represents this, we're going to put that as one side of my fraction. And then the other side, I'm going to match up with what my measurements I have. So this one said 247 feet, so I put that on the bottom with my feet, which this is why it's very important that we label. Okay, guys? So let me exit out of that. I'm going to take you over to the assignment. Okay, so for the assignment here, you got to put in your name. So I'm going to put Miss Howell here. Okay, it is a Google form, and we did something like this before break, but I want to go over it with you. Okay, and then we're going to hit next. So it's going to have different sections, okay? So each question has its own section. So this first question, we're going to go over it, and I'm going to go over this one because I want you to know how to do it. Minerva created a scale drawing of her television. In the scale drawing, the diagonal of the television measures 24 centimeters. So I know one of them is centimeters, right? Oops. What am I doing? Okay. There we go. So equals. Okay, so I'm going to put centimeters on bottom because it's smaller. So one of them should say 24 centimeters, and that's the scale drawing. If the diagonal of the actual television is 72 inches, so inches, that'd be 72 inches, what is the scale Minerva used to create the scale drawing? Okay, so what you could do is you could divide these, 72 divided by 24, and that would help you. But what I would do is, how much does 1 centimeter worth? Because these all start with centimeter. So I'm going to put a 1 here for the centimeter. How much is 1 centimeter? How many inches is 1 centimeter? So that's what I'm going to do. And then we cross multiply and divide. 72 times 1 is 72. I hope we can do that in our head. And then we're going to divide by 24. See, and that's why I said you could do 72 divided by 24. And 24 goes into 72 3 times, okay? So that means x is 3. So for every 1 centimeter, I go 3 inches. So every 1 centimeter, I go 3 inches. So I'm going to click that one, okay? And I'm going to hit next. Okay, and look, it told me I picked the correct answer. So I'm going to put in an explanation here. because I set up a proportion to find how many inches, how many centimeter, how many inches were in 1 centimeter, or whatever explanation you want. You have to do this part, guys, or you're not going to get full credit. Okay? And then we go on to number 2. See? So I'm just going to pick something random here. Let's see. And if you look at that one, this one said, no, it's incorrect. Okay? And this is how you do it. Okay? So go through it, and if you did not do it correctly, tell me exactly where you messed up. I set up the proportion correctly, but I did not divide correctly. Okay? And then you'll move on. Okay, and that's all we got to do, and you're going to keep on doing that all the way throughout it. So make sure, please, you do the explanations, and you give me good explanations, because not only does it tell me where you're struggling, but it helps you understand where you're struggling, and then you can keep going and go back and be like, well, I made this mistake before, let me redo it again. Okay, if you guys have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. You guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.